Who's in the My World kitchen house today?
Hi, I'm Alicia. Come in. Today I will be making Rolex because I love to eat it. The special ingredient is green chili. And that is why it's so spicy. Thank you for coming to My World kitchen.
Doggy!
Woof! Doggy!
The time bender, Kiliway, the time bender, Kiliway, the time bender. She can go back in time, she can reverse the day, she can turn wrong to right. She's a time bender.
Explorers on a global adventure. Zuli, Kayak, Lars, Boz. They are the Go-Jetters.
Launching Roomstar in
3, 2, 1.
We're adding new titles every day to our awesome collection of blockbuster movies. Download the app and subscribe. This isn't just a streaming channel. This is a bold new world of entertainment. Arise Play. Beyond streaming.
Arise Plays Movie Box and Indie View Festival Lagos announces the September winner of the short films competition, Convictus.
Here we go, guys. He's here. Let's go.
Stream this and other winning short films exclusively on Arise Play. Arise Play's Movie Box and Indie View Lagos are inviting content creators across the continent and diaspora to submit their short film to the competition and give it the visibility it deserves. What are you waiting for? Winners are selected every month. Visit at Arise Play and at Indie View Lagos on Instagram to submit your entry. Arise Play. Beyond streaming.
A very warm welcome to this week, 60 minutes of analytical review of the big stories, topical issues and all the controversies around the world. I'm Sumner Sambo. And in the headlines, Nigerian government insists terror alerts by Western embassies are false as presidential candidates make tackling insecurity top of their campaign priorities, with plans to recruit more citizens into the army and police. We'll have analysis. And as Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State begins campaign for his senatorial ambition, there's an accusation that he has been politicizing the farmer herder crisis in the state and using it to profile the Fulani ethnic group as enablers of terror. We'll have analysis. Very warm welcome to the show once again. Now, Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has come under intense criticism for allegedly politicizing the farmer herder clashes in the state and using it to boost his senatorial ambition for the Benue Northwest senatorial seat, to the dismay of some residents. Ortom, who has been at loggerheads with the federal government on the handling of the crisis in Benue State, has often accused Fulani herders of being behind the different attacks on communities and villages in the north-central state. While Governor Ortom has denied these claims, he's also been accused of using the farmer-herder clashes to tackle the presidential candidate of his party, Atiku Abubakar, among other grievances. But Ortom has denied the claims that he's using the issue to boost his senatorial ambition, while insisting that Atiku is waging a personal vendetta against him because he demanded an open apology for wrongly accusing him of profiling the Fulani in Benue State. Ortom and 4 other PDP governors have been having a head-on collision with Atiku since his emergence as PDP presidential candidate. Well, joining us now is a former senior special assistant to Benue State Governor on Student Affairs, Angu Ongu. He joins us now to expatiate on the issues at play in Benue State. He's also the North Central Coordinator of the Atiku Support Organization. Thank you so much for joining us, Angu. What exactly are the issues at play with Governor Ortom insisting that Atiku Abubakar has to apologize for the statement that he made that Governor Ortom is profiling the Fulani ethnic group and that he is a Fulani himself, and Governor Ortom is not isolating the issues and looking at them, but going on a blanket ethnic profiling of Fulani people?
All right, thank you very much. The issue of herdsmen killings in Benue, they've been there over the years, and some of us have had times to be on the street to agitate and give those issues agenda status. But the recent happenings are a far cry from our initial stance on these issues of ethnic profiling coming in, issues of it becoming a more of a personality fight or conflict, as it were, and not the core issues. Just like you said, the issues shouldn't be lumped up or shouldn't be politicized. Human lives shouldn't be politicized. The issue of killing should not be politicized. They should be looked at individually. And going back to the issue of my former principal.
Yeah, I mean, you once worked with him until you resigned, and I don't. Is it part of the reasons why you resigned from his government, or you have different political issues to actually settle with him?
His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ortom is my father. It's someone that I will not have political issues to discuss with him. But why I left his government were more for personal reasons, and also to say some politics is involved on it. You introduced me to be the North Central Coordinator of Atiku Support Organization. So I felt that my continually being in his government placed a moral burden on me and does not give me the latitude now to campaign vigorously for His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, former Vice President of Nigeria, the way I should. So I decided to excuse myself from his government so that I will not be at loggerheads with anybody. I will not be at loggerheads with my conscience, as it were. Back to the issue of herdsmen. That issue shouldn't be politicized. Human life is too sacred to bring politics into it. And if you listen to the statement of His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar at the Ariwa Consultative Forum meeting, he was very clear. He said, look, I have herds of cattle myself. I am a proponent of modern way of herding cattle. And in that statement, he proposed what the Benue State government, what we have always stood for, what we march on the street, even to the State Assembly, for a law to be promulgated. Law over prohibition,
Yeah, wasn't that law created? I mean, the law was created by
there.
the Benue State government,
by the Benue State
passed
government.
by the State House
But
of
it was the
Assembly,
people's
which
law.
the Mieti Allah refused to actually obey. And that's why Governor Ortom has been hitting hard at them and saying that, look, why should they be excluding themselves from participating in the laws put in place to safeguard the lives of people?
You see, the issue are multiple faceted.
You were in that government.
I was in that government.
Yeah, I mean,
Before
aren't you aware of the law?
I'm aware of the law. I'm coming. What I'm saying is, the Benue people proposed that law. It wasn't even the government thing. We were on the street. And permit me to say why we were on the street. Dr. Samuel Ortom was in the APC then. And the Benue State government did not have a voice then, even to speak on these issues. But we, the people of the state, we're on the street that, look, our people need to be protected. It wasn't politics, like I said before. It was about the Benue people. It was about the sanctity of life. And I was about the statement of His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. He said, look, I produce feeds, both for cattle, both for poultry, and all of that. So when we started seeing issues of some sections of his speech being highlighted and politicized, it becomes very unfortunate. And personally, I expect that, look, these people are leaders. The APC Buhari government has balkanized this country. The country has been so divided. So we as a party, the PDP, we should be doing everything possible to close ranks and bring Nigerians together. Not to highlight a speech, take part of it, and play politics with it. Part of it was that His Excellency Atiku Abubakar said, what Nigerians need, a northern president. He never said that. Why twist the statement he made? Which at the end he said, look, Nigerians don't need a Yoruba president, doesn't need an Igbo president. Nigeria needs a Nigerian president, a pan-Nigerian president.
It's not only Ortom that actually spoke on that. I mean, initially when that speech came out, a lot of people were confused until Atiku Abubakar had to clarify what he actually said. But let's go back to this issue now.
Because the video was there, but we are in a season of politics.
Yeah, let's go back to the main issue in Benue State now. How do you see Governor Samuel Ortom's senatorial ambition in the light of accusations of recent that he's actually been politicizing this issue of the farmer-header clashes and using it to his own advantage and just roping everyone? In fact, there are some groups who are now saying that Atiku Abubakar should be relieved of his traditional title, which is known as Zege Mule Utiv, yes. Which is one of the highest ranking traditional title positions in Tivland. Now, why do you think that all of these are enmeshed in these issues? Is Ortom really driving at using this for his own advantage?
I will first respond to the issue of some of those groups coming out to say His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar should be relieved or stripped of his title of the Zigomoro thief. I wouldn't have responded to them because most of those young men are charlatans that shouldn't be given a place when discourse of national issues are being carried out. But it's quite unfortunate, like I said before, we're in a season of politicking, and every charlatan that can write or that can hire a hired pen to write and they put out any press release out there can write anything. If not, those charlatans, when we are discussing national issues of national interest, they don't have a place there. So they shouldn't even be discussed. But on the issue of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ortom politicizing those issues, as I said before, is unfortunate. The death of human life shouldn't be politicized. If there are problems, we should come together as a people. We should dialogue. We should look at the issues, and they should be dealt with critically. But the failed APC government, led by General Muhammadu Buhari, have left Nigerians with this burden. We won't have been having this conversation if there are decisive measures taken by the Buhari-led government
Isn't
to
it-
deal with issues of insecurity
Isn't
in
it
this
almost the
country.
same things that we had when PDP was in power? Well,
They were not heightened the way we are seeing. Even anywhere in the world, there are security issues. But a responsible government take measures to see that those issues are curbed. Those issues are reduced to the minimum.
now let's get back to the issues of these groups actually asking that Atiku Abubakar should be stripped of that Zegemle Chief title. Isn't it the show of the sort of discontent that people, Benue people, especially those from the Tiv extraction, that the majority they seem to be having against Atiku? I mean, that he, as one of the strongest people holding a traditional position like that, hasn't visited. But we could see Peter Obi visiting Benue people, commiserating with them over the floods here and there, and Atiku Abubakar hasn't visited, instead only for him to appear in Kaduna and then make that statement.
It's unfortunate that Nigerians or the general public most times have short memory. Atiku was in Benue twice this year. During his first visit, which was more like a private visit, I was privileged to be in the hall where he was. He donated 50 million naira to the Benue state government to cater for some of the needs of the IDPs. Right. It is on record.
But not on flood issues.
In 2017, I was very active on the field then over the flood issue. Atiku Abubakar donated 5 million naira to the flood victims then. Permit me to say, where were the obese of this world then? But like I said, our people have short-term memory. They don't have a way of going back down memory lane or use their brains to think. That is why we have some of this very pedestrian conversation.
Well, some people say
but
that's
just like
a very
you said,
political
there is no discontent.
You think so?
The Zegemle title for His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has come to stay. I'm one of those young persons that are working with him now. And His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has a history of having worked and set up several and many other people that have worked with him. So we shouldn't, you said something very instructive. We shouldn't lump up issues. We should look at issues the way they are and see how they can be dealt with. We shouldn't allow this particular issue create bad blood for generations unborn. We are in a time where we should be building bridges and not burning them.
Well,
the people should be building bridges with the Fulanis. And some of those bridges have already been built over the years. So it will not be in our own generation.
Handling the issues, actually.
I'm not saying that, but there should
but
be
you say
better
that
ways
bridges have been burnt. Who is burning the bridges?
No,
I mean, that's what people want to
know.
know.
Bridges shouldn't be burnt, sir. I'm telling Nigerians that we shouldn't burn bridges. Bridges should be built.
And why do you think that Ortom and Atiku keep having these issues? I mean, a lot of people would have thought that, having been from the same party, and of course, Yoche Ayu, who's the PDP national chairman coming from your state, it could have been much more easier for them to be able to settle these issues. But I mean, Ortom keeps on following Wiki, and then he says that Atiku is on a personal vendetta against him for asking Atiku Abubakar to apologize for that statement he made.
I would like to say that personal issues, personal battles should not be given statehood or personal battles should not become state affairs. We should deal, since it's a personal vendetta, it should be dealt with personally. It shouldn't become a state issue. All right? And that is my advice across board. We as young Nigerians, we want a united Nigeria. So if our fathers, our elders have personal vendettas or issues to deal with, they should deal with it. They shouldn't bring it and make it become state affairs. And that is my advice to my former principal, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ortom. If Atiku has a personal vendetta with him, Atiku is his elder brother. He should call him and say, my elder brother, this issue, this is it. It needs to be dealt with. It shouldn't be made to become a state issue. or an issue that will create bad blood.
You have worked with Governor Samuel Ortom. What exactly is at the heart of this, farmer-header clashes in Benue State that it's been pretty difficult to resolve this issue, despite the laws that were promulgated by the State House of Assembly and all of that? Why is it difficult? What's the thinking of the Benue State government, which you had worked for, on this particular matter?
The Benue State government has made a lot of efforts, but like I said before, there are also back-end approaches in dealing with the issues. All right, and issues of security. Every security man will tell you that they shouldn't be discussed. Like I said, there should be back-end approaches in dealing with some of the security issues. Promulgating a law is not enough. I mentioned dialogue. I mentioned interpersonal relationship. The Miete Allah group, are they answerable to someone? Who are they answerable to? Have we made efforts to talk to this person? All right. So, in all of this arrangement, like I said before, the Benue State government has made a lot of efforts. But it's seeming that these efforts are not enough. The killings have continued. All right. We have agreed that they shouldn't be politicized. So there should be alternative dispute resolution mechanisms that should be put in place. Our people say, or was it Albert Einstein that said, if you are doing one thing repeatedly and you expect to get a different result, you should begin to check your brain. That maybe there is something wrong with your brain. So we should give it a different approach in dealing with the security issues that bedevil our people.
And do you think that these security issues may have an impact on who becomes the governor of Benue State, Atiku's chances in Benue State, and all of that? Because we see that the APC seem to be waxing strong in your state with the Reverend Father.
They fade, just like I said before.
So it looks like the PDP is on a civil war among itself. Governor Ortom is looking for senatorial position, and then he's campaigning against his presidential candidate. I mean,
you see, that is the perception that. It's very unfortunate that makes a lot of us young people cry.
Is it a perception or reality?
No, it's a perception. Perception is life itself. The way I perceive you. Every other thing you tell me about you doesn't really count.
But the reality is that Ortom is fighting his presidential candidate.
That's what I'm saying.
In the same party.
There is now a perception that the APC has an upper hand. I told you, and I told Nigerians before, that if not that the failed APC government, if they had dealt with security issues, we won't be having conversations around this. If they have dealt with banditry, we won't be having this conversation. All boils down to the fact that the APC government have failed us. All right. And they themselves, since all of this is happening, they want to, benefit or catch in on it because of the crisis and the PDP. But I want to assure Nigerians that the PDP is going to come out stronger. I'm a grassroots person. I'm a youth mobilizer. And as a North Central coordinator for Atiku Support Organization, we've gone down to the grassroots. Our structures are on ground. And our people are ever ready to vote the right man. The man with a recovery plan. The man or the party also that wants to rescue this nation. We are down the pit where the APC has taken the country to. So they may feel that, okay, there are crises, they want to cash in on it, but God no go shame PDP.
Oh, well, you're getting informal there. Let's talk about the issues of, the political scene within Benue State itself. I mean, we're seeing Labour Party actually waxing stronger in Benue, in addition to the APC I talked about. Why does it look like Governor Ortom seems to have been losing ground in terms of the fight to get his successor to power?
There is no losing of grounds. I'm not sounding optimistic because the PDP is my party. I'm sounding optimistic because of what is on ground. We have not lost an inch. Whether Labour Party, whether APC, we've not lost any ground.
That's your thinking. But I mean, the electorate in Benue will want to disagree with you. A lot of people.
I'm speaking as an electorate myself.
Who want to disagree with you considering what's going on in that state.
I'm speaking as an electorate myself that all what you see is a facade. Forget what the noise the Labour Party are making. Forget what the PDP are saying. Sorry, forget what the APC are saying. They only feel happy that, oh, these people are fighting now. They are celebrating. But the PDP is one big family. All of these issues will be resolved. And like I said before, personal issues should be dealt personally. They shouldn't be made to become state issues.
Now let's talk.
And like I said, independently, as a one that is, one that is freeborn, I could not become a prisoner of conscience. I know there are a lot of people that are still in Ortom's government that are ardent supporters of His Excellency Atiku Abubakar. But I know some of them, for obvious reasons, may not be able to resign. But I want to tell you that...
Because they're afraid of a sack by Ortom if they resign.
No, if you resign, how would they sack you again?
Maybe
if they express themselves too much.
If they express themselves too much, it may have consequences.
It may have consequences. I don't know about that. But as a freeborn, I had to step aside to say, look, let me step aside. Let me concentrate.
Yeah, and some of those student rallies and all of that, you were at the head of it when there was that farmer header clashes, trying to mobilize young people in Benue State. Tell us the thinking between the Ortom government then as to what was going on between him and Buhari, because at some point he kept on accusing President Buhari's government of not supporting Benue State, and that's one of the reasons why he left the APC to the PDP. And we are surprised that having moved to the PDP, it looks like still nothing much has been achieved.
I told you before that Dr. Samuel Ortom was in the APC while we were agitating. And at some point we visited the House of Assembly. They called us riffraffs. So the Benue people promulgated our law.
Through the governor?
Through the governor. So Ortom is like a new recruited comrade on the agitations of the Benue people. Permit me to mention, the late Pastor Edward Doga was the one that will call all of us young people together and some elders to start the movement that will later bring a law. And that law will later be made to become an executive law. It was the people that presented that law. I would not like to go into all the details, but that law was not the initiative of the Benue State government under Dr. Samuel Ortom. It was we, the people, that promulgated that proposed that law to protect the Benue people. And I will say again, our agitations, our labor pass, should not be politicized.
All right, as we try to round off this conversation, do you think that Ortom would emerge winner of the Benue Northwest Senatorial District, considering the influence of Akume in that senatorial district and how he has been fighting Akume, who used to be his godfather and all of that? Don't you think that he's getting into unfamiliar terrain? Very quickly.
Thank you very much. Politics is very dicey in Benue. His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ortom has a lot of work to do. He needs to go back to his drawing board, just like he mentioned some of these big wigs. The recent misunderstanding with Dr. Yoche Ayu, the national chairman of the party, he belongs to the Jengba. Benue is divided into blocks, particularly in the Tiv-speaking area. We have the Minda, the Jengba, the Jechira, the Sankara area.
Very quickly.
Ortom his senatorial district is between the Jengba and the Minda area. All right. So there is no relationship that is without that you will not find friction. There are political frictions
in a nutshell,
here and
you think
there.
it will be difficult for him actually imagine?
I'm not saying it will be difficult, but he has to do a lot of work.
Okay, we must thank you. Actually, Ongu is actually a former senior special assistant on student affairs to the Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom, and he's been taking us through some of the things that have led to accusations by political watchers in that state that Samuel Ortom is actually using politics to talk about the issues of the farmer header clashes in the states and using it to promote his senatorial ambition for the Benue Northwest Senatorial District. Most thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you
Hope
very
to have you
much.
some other time. Thank you so much. And we'll now go on a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about the terror alerts issued by both the United States government and, of course, the UK High Commission. And, of course, we will be x-raying those issues. Stay with us.
Are you struggling with a health challenge? Do you need financial help to access treatment?
I'm tired of trying. I need help. I want to try IVF. I know it's expensive.
Apply now for MHSS, the Maternal Health Service Support, a discounted loan by the W initiative of Access Bank. For more information, visit our website on www.thewcommunity.com or any Access Bank branch nationwide. You can also send an email to wcares@accessbankplc.com. Terms and conditions apply. The MHSS has successfully financed hundreds of health procedures.
The next one could be yours.
Our music is one of our greatest exports, but our wildlife could be another great industry if we protect it for future generations. Right now, it's threatened by illegal wildlife trade. So please, report wildlife crime and say no to illegal bushmeat. Because poaching steals from us all.
Here's a card where no go give you stress at all. Zero wait and zero queue. First Banky Petra card. Here's a card where no go give you wahala. Zero trouble now for you. First Banky Petra card. Tell off his spoiler. Who won't break them? Where you want say now only you get them. Nothing fit do one. Sharp, sharp payment not the way. Swipe they go, you know the way. Veteran card with the sweet body. Veteran card with no the shape person. We put you first again. First Banky Veteran card, we put you first again. Generate your virtual card, we put you first again. First Banky Veteran card, we put you first again. Just generate your virtual card, yeah.
Till the world hears your voice. Till you take over the world.
Airtel will be giving you a 500,000 naira educational scholarship for Zita.
Wow!
Yes! This is amazing! Airtel wants to rent a provision shop for 1 year. They'll stock it for you.
Hey, God! Hey! Who am I to deserve all these things? Who am I?
It's not over, it only just.
So we'll be doing minor refurbishment of the Mojisola Balogun Rehabilitation Center.
Than you've ever been. Take your chances, you have to try. No need
Wow,
to worry,
that's fantastic.
I go there by your side.
Welcome back to the program. Now, against the backdrop of the terror alerts issued by both the United States and the United Kingdom, the federal government has continued to reassure Nigerians that the country is safe and secure. The government, after a National Security Council meeting, which is the highest decision-making organ on security matters, also came down hard on the United States mission in Nigeria, the British High Commission and other foreign missions over the terror alerts that the issued sometime last week. They dismissed the security advisory as false, insisting that it was irresponsible to give signals to heightened insecurity in the country when there was no basis for it. Arise State House correspondent Adeswa Omoroma tells us more.
An emergency meeting of Nigeria's highest executive organ on security. The meeting is summoned by President Muhammadu Buhari to discuss recent happenings within the Federal Capital Territory and terror alerts by Western embassies, insinuating a major security threat within the nation's capital, Abuja, and its environs. After deliberations, the National Security Advisor says Nigeria currently does not have any situation that warrants terror alerts as issued by foreign countries to their citizens in Abuja.
Without giving the impression that Nigeria is skating on thin ice and we're about to implode. That I would want to dispel any illusion about any heightened sense of insecurity. It is false, it is irresponsible for anybody to give that signal. But there will be a lot of interpretations of this alert. It is an unnecessary distraction. As far as we are concerned, the safety, the security of Nigerians is paramount, and as far as we know, there's nothing untoward so far. Nigerians should be allowed to go about their legitimate undertakings without being put in a tight spot. The country is safe, Abuja is safe.
Despite not being substantiated, the authorities don't seem to be treating the terror alerts with levity. Officials say engagements are underway with foreign missions.
First of all, to mitigate and blunt any threat that there could be from outside the country, but also working with and engaging with the foreign missions within the country to ensure that whatever we do, whatever we say is constructive.
All right, thank you so much, Adeswa. There, joining us to look at this issue is Honorable Aliyu Ibrahim Gebi, who is a former member of the House of Representatives that chaired the House Committee on Internal Security. He's currently a senior special advisor to the Minister of Interior on Security and Strategic Partnerships, and he was also a senior special advisor to the former Minister of Interior, General Abdurrahman Ambazar. Thank you so much, Honorable Gebi, for joining us on the program. Now let's take a look at some of these things that would have precipitated the foreign missions into issuing some of these terror alerts and how the Nigerian government has been reacting. As someone who has an understanding of things that happen within the security sector, share with us some of the ideas that you think would have led to this after the home security agencies themselves, kept telling Nigerians that they shouldn't be afraid, and you heard the NSA repeating it there that from the home front, we seem to be getting it right.
Thank you very much for having me. And just a caveat, what I will say is my opinion, my independent individual assessment about the situation. And I must say a big congratulations to the NSA, because the statement that he made is actually a statement that every rational Nigerian should make. Before we jump into it, we must realize that this is the 6th electoral cycle Nigeria is transmitting through since 1999. At every point, the naysayers will say, this is it. Nigeria is going to implode, Nigeria is going to fragment, and so on and so forth. And what we have demonstrated consistently is demonstrating capacity and proving everyone else wrong. When Kuje prison break happened, every international component in Nigeria, in Abuja more so, was on edge. They thought, this is it, we're about to lose control of Abuja, blah, 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 blah. They seem to consistently underestimate the capacity of the Nigerian security and defense services. And this is one of those. And what angers most of us is someone who should be more responsible, like the United States of America, should understand the fact that by coming out and crying wolf, like chicken licking, the sky is fallen, the sky is fallen, no matter what happens thereafter, the fact of the matter remains you have put that out in the media space. So the adversary is also seeing that, and the fact that they decided to evacuate, allegedly. So the enemy and the adversaries will know, aha, so if we threaten to do something, even if we don't intend to do it, just to put it out in the media, we can actually cause such an internal agitation. That
so you think there was a deliberate attempt by the foreign missions to actually make it a media issue?
For me, I absolutely believe that, because I know the symbiosis that exists between the Nigerian government, the Nigerian security agencies, and the defense component with the United States of America. We are a partner. They are an ally. And there are layers of communications that should have been had, could have been had, and must have been had for them to get to that position. And everyone in Abuja saw how the system reacted. The DSS component, the military component, and so on and so forth. There was no reason to react the way that they did. And if they had intelligence, which I assume they did pass on to the system without prejudice to what I do not know, the system demonstrated capacity and competence and capability to handle it. For crying out loud, right now, where's our president? Our president is in the United Kingdom, in London, on a short holiday. If Nigeria wasn't safe, if Nigerians were not safe, would the president leave Nigeria to go to the UK?
And that's what some people are actually saying too, that the president seems to be showing nonchalant attitude. You would have seen it even on social media. People saying that if the foreign missions are sending their non-essential staff, that looks like Mr. President is even a non-essential staff of the Nigerian government.
You and I know that, unfortunately, the Buhari administration does not get the credit that it does, nor does it get the kudos that it should get. Don't forget, it is under President Muhammadu Buhari that the Chibok girls came back. Don't forget, it is under Muhammad Buhari that Shekau died. Shekau did not wake up in the morning and decide, gee whiz, I'm going to blow myself up. It is a concerted effort of the security, defense, and other agencies that led him to that box where he had to take his life out. Let's not forget, this year alone, 14 Chibok girls have come out. Who is saying anything? Over 100,000 people have crossed across the line from the enemy side to the Nigerian side. Why are we not celebrating that? When COVID started, every major Western country thought the body count in Nigeria would be in the tens of millions. To their surprise, it didn't happen. How many of them knew that we had the National Pandemic Response Program of 2006, one of the most highly evolved, highly competent in the world? So for some reason, countries are insistent on proving a point that we are incapable of governing ourselves, we're incapable of surviving as a nation.
And so you think it's part of the strategy by President Buhari to actually go out of the country to show that the country is secure?
Once the commander-in-chief got the assurances of his commanders, his security chiefs, and so on and so forth, he trusts them. He has seen their capabilities. He has seen their competence. These are the same team of people who turned the tide against Boko Haram. These are the same people that are making you and I secure. Of course, there's nothing else for him to do rather than to create panic. This is why President Buhari did not respond like Ramaphosa did. Because President Muhammadu Buhari understands the dynamics of global politics, more so the position of Nigeria in the eye of the storm in terms of Western global politics. Of course, life goes on. I have 7 children. They are driving around Abuja because I know it's safe.
Yeah,
if it's
and
not safe, I will
if you look at
children.
the cost of the security advisory to the Nigerian people, at the moment, lots of international facilities in Abuja are shut. Some areas, people don't want to move out. And sometimes when you speak with people outside Abuja and you tell them that Abuja is safe, they just don't want to believe
My brother, you and I know
Why
that.
do you think that is actually happening?
You and I know that for a fact. Nigeria is that exceptionally good product. Exceptionally good product. Terrible packaging. Put in a store, saved, put on the shelf, high shelf in the back of the store, in a very darkly lit part of the store. So only those who know that this product exists, this good product exists, they will come sneak in when nobody is watching, they go and take it. And this is what the foreigners do. They know how good this product is. They know how viable this product is. They know how competent this product is. But they want to keep it to themselves on their own terms.
With the attack on the Kuje correctional facility, a lot of people within the international community would have been having a rethink based on what you are saying.
Then I should ask you the same question. Why did they not evacuate after Kuje? Why did they wait?
It's left for our viewers.
Why did they not evacuate?
Because I mean, those are the questions people are also asking.
Why did they not evacuate after Kuje? And you and I, perhaps viewers know, perhaps they do not know. Again, I do not hold brief for any agency or entity of government. I'm speaking as a personal individual that has a stake in this game. How many people are remaining outside that have not been recaptured? There are deficits that internally we have that we should address, but in terms of security, competence, and capacity, in the last 10 years, in the last 8 years, in the last 7 years, what we have built, no country on earth has done it. In the history of insurgencies, from the Maoist communist insurgency in the Philippines to the Islamist insurgencies everywhere, no one has achieved what Nigeria has achieved.
Yeah,
Before they used to say, we don't communicate, we don't coordinate, and so on and so forth. Now they have moved from that. We are communicating, we are coordinating, we are seeing results, but someone somewhere is hell-bent on making sure the Buhari administration does not get the credit that it deserves after rolling back most of the adversarial enemies that we have, all the problems that we have in the security sector specifically. We have to ask ourselves why. The platforms that were acquired, before, who refused to sell us the platforms?
But these same Western countries are selling some of these platforms
now
to us,
they are selling,
and we have some good defense corporations.
Now they are selling.
Now, why do you think that will be happening and our intelligence services will also not understand the game at play?
Our intelligence services, sir, know better than you and I, understand better than they could ever come out to mention. But the reason why they would not talk is for the same reason why you call them intelligence services. We don't come out and put our cards on the table because our allies, our friends, don't also come out and put their cards on the table. Those who claim Abuja was unsafe through Halloween parties where people attended. A certain nation celebrated its military day yesterday in a public celebration. If Abuja was not safe, would they do that? Of course they would not. This is politics. Perhaps some people are not happy with the fact that we are still successfully transiting. Perhaps, my opinion, perhaps some nations are not happy with Nigeria's posture in terms of certain global events that are happening. That is my opinion. Or perhaps some people are just hell-bent on proving certain things that their analysts sitting comfortably in their countries who have never set foot in Nigeria have predicted that by so and so Nigeria will disintegrate. So every single day, Nigeria proves everyone wrong. If I were to write a book about Nigeria, I would title the book Nigeria ... against all odds. We're here.
Okay. And one thing that got me thinking is that some of this security advisory had been issued in the past. But what really heightened this one was the evacuation of non-essential staff. And we usually see the US doing this in war-torn countries like Syria, Afghanistan,
Are we
and so
a
on.
war-torn country?
And that's the question I want to ask you.
Are we a war-torn
does it look
country?
like that's the lens that they're using to actually look at us?
That's their own collective, selective myopia. This is what they want to see, they see. To them, they want us to be for our circle to be their box and it must fit in their box. It cannot. We're a sovereign nation. We are not a banana republic. We are not a failing state. We are not a failed state by every single indices. If the problems that they are talking about were real, you and I will not be here in the Hilton having this conversation.
So should we be reviewing our security cooperation with these countries as a country?
We should absolutely review, redetermine, realign, reassign, reassess. We need to know who our friends are. We don't need friends in prosperity. We need friends who are there, who are here with us 24/7 throughout. Well, when everything happened after the fact, at this point in time, I am sure, again, speaking from my own perspective, we know who our friends are. We know who our adversaries are. We know who our potential adversaries are. We know who our potential friends are.
Do you think this has to do with Nigeria's sudden romance with some Eastern countries?
It doesn't.
Eastern blocs.
It is absolutely.
And of course, you see where we are purchasing some armaments from Turkey and all of that.
Irrelevant.
Some countries are unhappy.
Our preferred partner for purchase of material, equipment, platforms, and so on and so forth, at a point made it exceptionally difficult for us. If you recall, when Buhari came into power, there was a shortage of the AK-47 rifle ammunition. There was a 7-year waiting period. Why? Because the entire world was fighting ISIS. How did we overcome that? We are very resilient people.
Did we patronize the black market?
Of course we did. Well, we overcame it.
Because the United States always is against...
What we needed, yes, but the United Nations, with all due respect, has no right to define what a black market is and what a white market is. If I am to go to South Korea, North Korea, for example, or Pakistan or India, your adversary is not my adversary. I'm looking for solutions to my problem. The President Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari's first responsibility is the welfare, safety, security of his citizens. And he has done that demonstrably well.
Okay, I will ask you to hold on. Let me read this. Meanwhile, ahead of the 2023 elections, presidential candidates have started wooing voters with their electoral plans to tackle insecurity. For the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, security is a major issue that needs attention. The former governor of Kano State, at the unveiling of his manifesto, said he would recruit more Nigerians into the military and police to address insecurity, as the present number is below what is expected for Nigeria's huge population. It's looking at about 750,000 personnel, both in the Nigerian army and other security forces, including the police. He also said his government will deploy technology to secure Nigeria. Now, for the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, while sharing this same opinion on the security matter, says he's promising to recruit more personnel too into the country's security formations to combat insecurity. And I come back to you, Honorable Gaby. Is the problem of insecurity, does one of the solution or the major solution lie with recruiting more people? You can hear Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso saying 750,000 personnel. I mean, where would we have the money to fund them? And of course, kitting and all of that in a time where several security architectures across the world are becoming smart, not increasing in huge numbers.
Personally, I don't believe recruitment is the answer, because recruitment presupposes certain things, including sustainability, funding, etc., etc., etc. So I feel, in my opinion, the problem is we need to look. Everyone says the security architecture. In my opinion, it's not the security architecture. It is the security threat analysis matrix. We need to look at it critically. Up until now, anytime there's a problem in Nigeria, it is seen first from a regional perspective. Within the region, it's seen from a state perspective. From the state, within the state, it's seen from an ethnic perspective, then a religious perspective. So we need to sit down and define what it means to have a threat against our own existential threats. First, define what is a Nigerian threat. Once we define this is a Nigerian threat, so if it is happening in Kauran Namoda or Abakaliki, it is a Nigerian threat.
That's anything against the
Correct.
Superstructure.
Anything on the surface of the map called Nigeria is a Nigerian threat and should be dealt with as such. Once we define those matrices, then we begin to evolve our horizon scanning capacity. Then we would know what we are dealing with now and what is lying across the horizon. This must continuously be updated, not that we sit down and wait until someone from outside tells us you have this threat. 2, we have the competence, we have organic early warning systems, but because it is not compatible with the Western paradigm of horizon scanning, you need to have technology, you need to have this, you need to have that. We allowed it to just sit down. So we need to look inwards. We need to reactivate those organic components that make us Nigeria. Then lastly, we need to define who a Nigerian is. What set of values define us as Nigerians? Once we make those definitions known, we don't need a surge of troops. We don't need more police. Once we establish our value systems, what defines me as a Nigerian, everything will fall into place.
So the presidential candidates are getting some of these projections wrong.
Well, the presidential candidates are politicians. And when I used to be a politician, all I'm looking for is what will appeal to the electorate. So if I'm saying I'm going to employ more people, of course I'll get votes, because everyone
wants a job. Now, what sort of legacy do you think that the outgoing administration should leave to the next
President Muhammadu Buhari? If I would spend 100 hours on this channel talking about the achievements of President Muhammadu Buhari in the security sector, my sector alone, I will not finish. Take, for example, the Ministry of Interior. When President Muhammadu Buhari came on board, General Dambazo was made Minister of Interior. In the whole Federal Fire Service, there was only one vehicle, and it was not operational. When Buhari came in, before he came in, the last budget, all the budgets of the Federal Fire Service from 1939, when it was enacted or removed from the police, up until 2015, if you combine the budget allowances, they were not up to what President Muhammadu Buhari approved in 2015 alone.
Yeah, and some people would doubt the effectiveness of the Federal Service.
But the fact of the matter now, I am certain you, who should be in my age group, you have seen more fire trucks now than ever.
Definitely, we are saying, but I mean, some people still say that, look,
but you see, that is the problem. Our problem is we like to cut our noses off to spite our faces, and we like to see ourselves within the eyes of the Western space. Why? Nigeria is working. Can we be better? Absolutely. But we are a very young nation. And one thing we forget to agree, and it is an incontrovertible fact, is that Nigeria has been a nation in flux since independence. This democracy is only as old as from 1999 to date. This National Assembly is only as old as from 1999 to date. Considering these factors,
but should we continue to be in a constant state of flux?
We are developing. Now we are beginning to build institutions. Up till now, we have only strong individuals. But now we're beginning to build institutions, strong institutions. Before, if you have a weak head of the institution mimics. If you have a strong one, it mimics. But now it is almost fire and forget. And the incoming administration, hopefully, regardless, will be the first time we're having a pure civilian administration.
Well, Didn't we have one in 2007?
2007 was a hybrid. It was a hybrid.
Okay, as we try to round off this conversation, you and I know that under Buhari's government, banditry has been in the increase. And then we have also had issues of kidnappings with several billions of naira being spent on negotiations here and there. And some people are still in captivity as I'm speaking with you. Don't you think that's a blemish on Buhari's security credentials?
But before we talk about the blemish, let's celebrate the wins. Let's celebrate the success. Let us celebrate the fact that hundreds of thousands of people have been liberated. Let us celebrate the fact that our troops are doing an exceptionally good job in the fight against the insurgency. We are at the consolidation phase.
Yeah, but some people will tell you that a lot of Nigerians have become poorer because they have to be paying bandits and kidnappers for... paying ransom to all these people.
My brother, it is not paying ransoms that has made people less buoyant. Less buoyancy is a different indices and matrices on its own. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at the yardstick for insecurity in Nigeria, the yardstick that investors will measure and say Nigeria is insecure, what's the Northeast? Now, what is the situation in the Northeast? With the banditry. You see, we don't like good news in Nigeria. We're addicted to bad news. We just want to celebrate bad news, to point the finger, you did wrong, I did wrong. I chose to come on Arise because I know the posturing of Arise from the outside is seen as almost as adversarial.
Well, it's not really adversarial. I mean, we say it as it is based on the realities on ground. You and I will agree that, for example, the Abuja-Kaduna train lies fallow at the moment, despite the huge investments of the federal government on needs.
Marlon Sambo, when that huge investment was being made, did we take out the time to consider what are the security precautions that would have been instituted at that point if we're going to spend $10 billion in security to secure $5 billion?
Well, a minister in the government of Buhari, Rotimi Amechi, said he requested for 3 billion naira, and the same Buhari government did not approve that money to secure that same facility.
I am not holding brief for the minister, nor am I holding brief for President Muhammadu Buhari. I am a northerner, a core northerner, someone who has skin in the game. I am from the Northeast. My father was a refugee in my house before he died. I have lost friends, I have lost family, etc., etc. That place is now stable. Now we have.
The UN has even given the government some kudos for that, actually. And we have reported it as journalists.
You are only saying UN has given kudos to the government, but have Nigerians given kudos to the president?
Well, a lot of Nigerians have. And when the government goes wrong, too, it actually tells the government. Because we can't all be singing good news every time. The fact
of the matter is, I am not holding brief. I am a very blunt person. If it is black, I call it black. If it is white, it is white. But we are not in as terrible a position as we were. And what we're succeeding, Obasanjo once said, President Obasanjo, and I quote, "The name you call yourself by is the name everyone else will call you with."
Well, the opposition will dispute that with you.
But that's why they're opposition. Don't forget, I ran under CPC. I ran under CPC. Yeah. So we understand these things. But frankly speaking,
very quickly,
with all sense of responsibility and humility, we need to give President Muhammadu Buhari, his war commanders, his security chiefs, the kudos that they deserve. And we should.
Yeah, we've always been doing that, and the electorate will actually say that too.
I would like to hear Arise
TV say this. The electorate will actually say that on the ballot today, on the election day, if the APC has done very well.
I would like to hear Malam Sambu from time to time saying, yes, government did well. Government must be celebrated.
Yours is just to report it, Honorable Debbie, but we must thank you so much.
Yours is not only to report, because you manage
we mustn't take side.
You do.
It's left for people to judge us, actually. But we must thank you so much,
Honorable
Aliyu Debbie, who was a senior special assistant to the Minister of Interior on Security and Strategic Partnership, and he was a former member of the House of Representatives.
Under CPC.
Yeah, under CPC, not APC.
Not
You're trying to play politics.
No, I'm not playing politics.
All right, but we must thank you so much.
This
is where we draw the curtain on the show this week. On behalf of our team here in Abuja, London, and Lagos, we thank you so much. I'm Sumner Sambo. See you next week.
Where is Glory?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Glow! Where Glow now?
Are they here?
Glow, don't go village. Tell all our customer.
Everybody pay attention. See, now Glow berekete 10x.
Now he might take tension my customers.
Now they dash me 10 times the credits when I load. Or even summer me double data join.
Yeah. Wait, so with 1.5 when they give all of us, so you they enjoy up to 15,000 naira credit and data.
And I say I never finish you. See, when I say if you enjoy, if you not join Global Rekete 10x, when I go get 1,000 naira welcome credits, you just carry your phone, dial *777#. Finish. Gulo, you don't win.
Una see they here. Hello, please, I'm looking for Glow. Please save now Glow they fine. Now Glow they go. Okay, so
enjoy 10 times the value of your recharge on Glow Berekete 10X. You also get 1,000 naira for calls and data and double data bonus on your subscription.
I'm Chigozie B, and I'm the Access Ardex Prize winner for 2021. I want my work to connect with people. It's really that simple. These stories are my own life, stories in the lives of people around me, stories from all areas of life, and specifically how they affect the Black community. That is what I channel through my art. All of this has been made possible by Access Ardex Prize and my residency at Gasworks.